Recording is on.
All right, Bitcoin Design Guide Jam Session number 41. And today we're going to jam out just like in this image here behind me. That's our motto, including the weird sausage fingers. It's just funny how these AI images mess up the limbs, but they're getting better. So anyways, as usual, thanks all for joining, and we will just go through what everyone's working on, which is, I think it's pretty much just it seems like we don't have anything particularly new today, maybe one or two things, but a lot of it is just kind of seeing where everyone is in the progress of what we set up last time, which was 2 weeks ago. Seems like a lot of stuff in progress there. So I'll switch over here to the roadmap. And if you're not familiar where this one lives, you just go to the Bitcoin design organization. And from there, I think you can, under projects, Bitcoin design guide roadmap. We'll see the latest milestone and all the ongoing tasks, who's assigned, and then what's in progress. So earlier today, some of these were still to-dos, but they're all in progress. Everyone's working on things. So I just changed them all to in progress. Now, what else would you like to talk about? Should we just go through this list or something else?
Sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Nothing from our side.
Okay, awesome. So personas, adding personas from the UX research by Patricia Estevao into getting started. Mo, I think there was more feedback going back and forth, right? I gave some feedback about on a few things.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the document now on my other screen. You've given some feedback here. I just need to reply to the feedback and reiterate. I think where it is now, it feels very much like if I do one more iteration after your feedback, I think we're really nearing a little bit of something that feels a bit more final.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm really going to focus on wrapping up this week. Well, as much as I can, just incorporating your feedback. And your feedback was here on how to use the personas. So that's the biggest part to work on.
Yeah, so the other thing you could do is just kind of do this part into a follow-up, because this has been lingering for a very long time. If you're like, I don't, this is an extra addition at the end of the page. We could just focus on getting the top part done and into the guide, and then do the rest separately. Like the page does not really depend on it.
Yeah.
It's good content, but it can be live without it.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm 100% down with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, and then I think we could just mark this as like follow-up PR, and then
get the rest on.
Yeah, and I think it's just like some minor feedback, and then the images, the user journey, squeezing them in. And I think, Stephen, you also mentioned creating a custom component, which I also think is not super urgent. I think for now we can just put in static images, and then the custom component can be a separate task.
Yeah.
Like better to just get things out in a good shape and then iterate. I mean, you should have seen some of the first pages in the guide that we put live at the very beginning. They were not that great. Like this is way better already.
Since I'm not into the front end development kind of thing, how can we kind of make that into a page? Do you want to make that into a page together and I just watch you and I record the screen, or how would you like to do that?
Yeah, we could do a work session this week at some point.
Yeah. Cool.
And this would be, let me just, do we know which page this would go into?
Good one. Let me just go to the Bitcoin Design Guide.
Getting to know your users.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right. So that would be a subpage or a parallel page?
Designing Bitcoin products, getting to know your users. Yeah, good question.
Yeah. I don't know. It could just go in there between that one and common user flows.
Yeah, so you have the user flows. Next, we'll cover common user flows, and then you're thinking of kind of just putting it in here.
Yeah, just there in the sidebar.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I also shared this Okay, cool. You're already taking notes. Awesome. Thank you. Anonymous unicorn. Yeah, cool. Anything else on this one?
No,
Okay, cool. Just let me know then when you want to have a work session
I'll
on it.
message you on Slack.
Cool. And if Steven, if you want to join that work session, you're also welcome to. Or anyone who's watching. And okay, let's go through the next one. Create a new page on the site about social media accounts. So I started this one. It's not really a super interesting site. It doesn't make the Twitter account like the most amazing, interesting place in the world. It's more functional. It's like, this is what we use it for. And then copy pasted the guidelines. Like, we are for things, we're not against things, we don't troll people. We try to point. It's like the old discussion where that came up a few times where some people were like, yeah, it should have this unique voice, it should be funny, it should be this and that, which requires someone to really pay attention and to think about this account, right? To interact with followers, to think about clever things to say. And we never really had someone to do that, right? And that's why I think we've been more just keeping it functional. So the document is there. I grabbed also I can just pull it up here. Where is it? First draft. So I got this image here representing speakers in some abstract way. And then most of the content here is really from the document we already had, with a little bit of an intro, a button to follow on Twitter, and at the bottom, giving credit to the editors. Mo, I think you should also be in here, right? Do you?
Oh, is this for the? Oh yeah, for the newsletter. Yeah.
Ladies first. And then shout out to our previous tweeters, which were Alexa and Doc Sharp, right? There was, or what's that, someone else?
I have no idea.
Yeah. And then so 2 people requested over the last few days to create Noster accounts for design community. So since there's momentum on this, like, no one's ever asked like, oh, let's create a Facebook, it's not like a LinkedIn account, let's create whatever. Here now people say, we want to have an account here. So I think we should support it. So maybe we need to also put this on here. Yeah. And then we'll just have to cross Nost or whatever, post. But maybe we can add, if we just want to get this page live, we can put that as an addition to it. Follow up PR.
I should probably review this. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, let's just add let's take it live. Let's just add the Noster stuff once. There's no point talking about Noster here until we actually have a Noster account and all that. So I wouldn't worry about it right now.
Yeah, there might
just
also be
skimming
a Noster hack day coming up there's all kinds of stuff coming up, I guess.
Yeah,
with Noster,
I might.
so.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
You know what? Sometimes technology comes around. A lot of times technology comes around, and people are like, yeah, another technology. Sometimes it really captures people's imagination, and this is one of those situations where it's just people are pumped. It gets the people going.
Want to be at the party.
Exactly.
A whole event only about Nostra. I was just looking at it. I couldn't believe it.
I would say, yeah, I mean, this looks just skimming. This looks right to me. I mean, it's like you're saying, it's basically just from the guidelines we already have in the meta repo. So that sounds good. I'd say, maybe define RT. I think most of Bitcoin Twitter knows what RT means, but you'd be surprised how often people ask me what I mean when I use RT as an abbreviation. It says
racist tweets.
Retweet. But yeah. Yeah. This looks good to me. Here's my thumbs up on it.
I will look at it between today and tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. New header image on recovery, Steven. It's probably not super high up on your list. That's the...
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could do no one jumped into that PR and was like, Christoph, you're being too critical. We should merge it as is. So
yeah,
I think that means I should make some changes. So yeah, let me. I'll do I'll do another render of that that's got some like different texture on there. And yeah, I could try one that's like just like 12 puzzle pieces or something. That sounds fine.
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yo.
other stuff is way more crucial. If you're like, I don't want to, this is
Oh,
less.
I just got an idea.
Okay.
You were saying there should be 12 puzzle pieces instead, like to represent the seed words.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be funny if there was like just like an emoji or a symbol on each puzzle piece that represented like words from the seed word dictionary? So like not the word itself, but it would just
yeah.
be like this idea sounds this idea is like better in my head than hearing myself talk about it. So I'm sorry. I know no one's as excited as I am, but like yeah, I could just
Let it marinate a little bit. Maybe it comes together.
it'll like
Yeah,
one puzzle piece will just have a piece of bacon on it, and then
yeah.
the other puzzle piece will just have like a house on it, and the other one will have like a carrot or something like that. I don't know.
And if you turn two with the same picture on it, then you get bonus points or something, or you connect three.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah, I'll get another update to that
Yeah,
PR.
or just ignore my feedback and we can. So I think the
No, I
fiat
don't.
over
I'm
lightning.
not gonna merge my own PR. I'm not a psychopath, Christoph.
Okay, I've done that before. I guess I'm a psychopath, which
I'm
is
not a
fine.
psychopath, Christoph. I've done it before.
Not in this repo. I don't think that's possible even. But
Yeah, I'm kidding. I self merge on my own repositories all the time,
well, who
I,
else is going
I,
to
I'm
do it? I mean,
but I'm not gonna like self merge on the Bitcoin Design Guide.
yeah. Could you even do it?
I don't know. Should I try it?
I think I've self merged stuff like when there was the GitHub was recommending some minor version
Yeah,
update to a package for security reasons or some stuff. Anyways,
yeah, that's reasonable. I get it. Yeah,
yeah, but I think this fiat over lightning stuff is probably more worth your time investment.
yeah. I have some updates on that, if but I'm not sure if it's time to discuss that or not. But
Do you
yeah,
want to
I
go
could
over
talk about those.
anything? I see the images in there now. Do you want to go over anything, or do you just want to like say, "Hey, everyone, give feedback," and we'll move on? Or what would you like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I won't. I'll say it was good feedback. I've been going through it, making some updates. So, I mean, I kind of responded to the comments there. Yeah, it's looking good. I think originally we were talking about like stable sats, and I was having trouble finding some other examples, but I did some research and came up with some other examples for other like kind of projects or ideas around this idea. So calling it synthetic fiat. Don't worry, because that's what they Galoy calls it synthetic USD, and then there was somebody
Mm.
trying to do like synthetic euros and all that. So don't worry, I'll work some euros into some of these graphics for you. So it's just not all, dollar hegemony all over across the board. But yeah, I think it's good. I just need to make some graphics for the stablecoin and DLC versions of it. And then kind of want to get like some other folks I know who deal more with DLCs to read some of the text for me just to check it, just to make sure I kind of have worded that correctly. I need to work in some graphics for representing in the UI. So I was thinking I would just take some Bitcoin UI kit stuff and like take the daily spending wallet and add like a hypothetical USD account or something like that. Just to show on this page, not to like merge into the daily spending wallet, but just to show on this page and have an
Yeah.
example. So yeah, I think I should be able to get an update up this week for this one, and then actually turn it into a PR.
Awesome. So I'm fairly familiar with these different techniques because I've researched the type of stuff before. Mo and Stain, have you had, how much do you know about this? Because if you don't know very much, then your review would be very amazing too, to give
Yeah,
a different type of perspective. Whether after if you scan this, you're like, okay, I get everything. I'm gonna make my own synthetic ruble now or something.
Cool, gotcha. I've got the Google document here. I will add it to my to do on Notion.
Yeah, I've gone through the document and added a couple of comments here and there. I think it's maybe worth going through it again and see if there's anything new that pops up.
Something John's loved doing this was to have a collaborative work session where 2 or 3 people or so get together on a call and actually read it out aloud.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very helpful because you notice how well the text actually flows.
Mm-hmm.
And inconsistencies and these things, they just stand out in a much more clear way. So this is also something that if you'd like to do it, we could also set up.
I mean, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to also read it alone, as you guys wish.
Yeah, if anybody wants to join me on a call to do that live or whatever, I'm down to do that. We should probably wait till I get another draft. The first draft that you and Stain read was, very, very rough train of thought, incomplete sentence fragments. So as I go through with this one, I've been trying to actually turn them into legitimate sentences. So maybe just give me another day or two to get it a little more polished. But yeah, I'd be down to do that if somebody wants to join me sometime.
I'm down. I'm 100% down. You can message me, Stephen, and I'm happy to jump on a call.
Okay, cool.
Okay, awesome. Moving along pretty smoothly here. Let's see. Yashraj is not here.
I can give a little bit of update with regards to Yashraj, but not with regards to 29, but with regards to 30.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Please go ahead.
Him and I jumped on a call last week sometime, just for around 45 minutes, an hour. We started loosely working together on putting together a case study for the PayJoin case study. At the moment, he's wrapping up. He has some final UI designs, and he's wanting some feedback from myself and anyone else in the community. So I'm going to have to give him first feedback with regards to the user flow that he created, as well as the UI designs. And then we've created a project plan of how to basically put together a case study. Like I've said, very loosely, collect all the resources, let's start working in a Google document. So him and I are kind of working together on it at the moment. And that's related also to this other document which I created, which I'll share in the link very quickly, but Stephen has already seen it, and Christoph has already seen it. That's just a very loose guideline document on how to put together a case study. Never done anything like this before. I basically just looked at what was in the Blixt case study, and I kind of was just thinking out loud, and I kind of put everything, my thought process of how I put the Blixt case study together, I kind of put it into this Google document. So I'm planning to share this with Yashraj so that he can use this as a little bit of a idea of what to include in the case study.
Yeah.
It's really new. This is the first iteration, so it's really new, super new.
Okay, so real quick, let's start from the top. So 29, I think he just needs a little bit of feedback because I think it's just a small addition to the guide. That'd be a good one to wrap up. Then with PayJoin, I had a question since you talked to him. So I reviewed this long document, and I thought that was the case study, but it's not.
No.
I realized only later, and as I saw some other comment coming in. So the case study document has not been written yet. That's new, right?
No.
It will be taking, because that is a super thorough document, and the wireframes and everything's super thorough. But it seems like Yashraj wants to take some pieces of this and create a more designer-focused document without some of the super deep dive technical explanations, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told him to, he can, at the resources at the end, he can add in that long document, he can add in all his Figma files, he can add in all the messiness at the bottom in resources. But for the case study presentation itself, we try to keep it short, sweet, to the point, nice visuals, and tell a story. So that's what we're working towards. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. I also read through this document. I think it's really good, and this could probably go into the contribute to guide section here somewhere. And maybe we should also have something like this for the reference designs or other pieces of content, because we have learned a few things about how to write content for the guide and kind of what works well for people, what doesn't. Maybe we should capture those as well.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea because I think it's also for Millie as well. She's also asked for something like this as well.
Mm.
It's the first iteration, so I'd love any if you guys have any feedback, or maybe I show it to another UX researcher for their feedback. Because this is the first iteration. And I didn't really Google anything or look for any information online of how to put together a case study. This is just me spilling my brain onto the page. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Then, Stephen, did you have a chance to give feedback already, or I only read it, I don't know, an hour ago or so.
Oh, are you talking about Mo's case study guidelines?
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good to me.
I haven't gone through it, but happy to do so. I think I've only seen it now.
I'll send it to you in Slack, Stein.
Yeah. And that coupled with, go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Just gonna say that coupled with 2 or 3 examples of case studies. Once we have a few more, that might be enough for everyone. And also maybe we should bake the idea in here that if someone is not comfortable doing all of the writing or wants help with images or so, they can always reach out. And especially with these jam sessions and whatnot, there are opportunities to collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, and on that point about not being comfortable with the writing, like that kind of jogs my thinking a little bit. Like I think when you and I first talked about it, Mo, I was like thinking about like literally just like a list of questions. So like almost like you're interviewing the person. So like, I mean, let me pull it up on screen real quick here. Content ideas, share some background on how it started, share who worked on the project. I mean, it might be like it might even be like worth creating like an even simplified version of it for someone who isn't as comfortable with writing. That's just like where it's like we got like content ideas, these bullet points, and so like maybe we just like convert those into questions.
Gotcha.
So share some background on how it started. It would be like, how did this project start?
Yeah.
Who did you work on this project with?
Yeah.
How did you collaborate with these people? What's a little bit of background around the product that you are working on here? And so then at that point, it's like, you know, there is no like, at that point, they're just answering the questions. They're just filling in answers to questions, and then someone who is comfortable doing the writing could kind of like expand that and, you know, turn it into a longer piece.
I like your idea because I could create a really simple, super simple sub Google document linked at the bottom of this one with like, hey, here's a list of questions. And then if someone wants to, they can make a copy of that Google document and then they can just write in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Good one.
Excellent. Yeah, all these. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how much Chat GPT we're gonna end up. This type of stuff will end up in these type of writing and documents and in forms and whatnot.
Well, I mean, it's actually worth an experiment. I think they have a paid plan now, so we're no longer going to get the hey, you can't use this kind of thing. But imagine that you have your little your question document, Mo. Somebody forks it on Google Drive. They answer all the questions. Then you send that to Chat GPT and you say, hey, write me a case study in the style of this existing case study on the Bitcoin Design Guide, but about the answers to this person's questions. And then it's just going to spit out a page of text for us. And then all we got to do is go in there, tweak a couple of things that don't sound accurate, and there's our case study.
You know, I mean, this is not Chat GPT thing, but for translating documents, Google Translate, because I have to sometimes go back on technical things between German and English, and my wife between English and Japanese, where a few years ago it wasn't good enough, but now you can just put your stuff in, take the translated stuff, and just tweak it a little bit. Especially with Japanese, it used to be a total disaster a few years ago, but it's gotten a lot better. And this might be a similar situation where it does the groundwork for you, but you still have to know what you want and tweak things.
Yeah.
Okay, ChatGPT, try writing that again, but this time a little more positive and cheerful sounding and less shitcoinery.
And if you read it backward, it should be a satanic verse.
Yes.
This is stand-up comedy. Oh my god. Oh god.
That would be interesting if it could do that. Okay, cool.
We have
So,
interesting calls, don't we, Stain?
What did you say?
I said we have interesting calls, don't we?
Oh, love it. So entertaining.
okay, cool. So Yashraj will just Mo. That's awesome that you're working with him. That is excellent. Then the next one is Stain. You're expanding pins, and we've been chatting back and forth. And I just left a little bit of feedback on your last document.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick.
Yeah, that would be good. Only got time to actually read it just before this call. Your feedback, but it seems like it's pretty. It's in pretty good position now.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot to it, at least the way that I've explained it. There might be more, but yeah.
Yeah. I didn't quite get the chart.
Okay. Yeah, I can explain that quickly. Mm-hmm. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, so it's definitely got its flaws. But essentially, so what you have on the left are the different scenarios. First scenario is mobile device recovery. So you lost your mobile device, so that's the X. And then, maybe also the columns are the different keys or things that you need when you hit that specific scenario. So with this first scenario, you lost your mobile device. In order for you to recover it, you need to have at least your cloud backup, your PIN to decrypt it, and then your signing device. The auto signer isn't relevant in this situation. So this is my understanding of it, and this is more like open for feedback and whether my understanding is correct. So of course, you could also lose your PIN. What happens in that situation? What are the minimum things that you need to do that? Gotcha. So that's kind of the format here. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And for Mo and Steven, that's in the context of the savings wallet, the 2 of 3 multi-sig setup. Yeah, and then so PIN recovery, there are 2 different ones, and one with a question mark.
I wasn't sure whether the second one is actually a scenario. So the first one is you need to have at least your mobile device and a signing device. So you should be able to recover your PIN. The second one is you need your mobile device. Can you recover your PIN if you don't have your signing device, but you have the auto signer? So still access to you.
So that's actually, you don't remember your PIN.
Yeah, but you still have the device.
Okay, so I have my smartphone with a wallet on it, but I can't. So if I set up my PIN to access the wallet, then I can't even get into my wallet. If I have not set up, then I can get into my wallet.
So I think the distinction here is important for the PIN. This is only the PIN that decrypts the cloud key, which is different in my mind at least. The PIN to access the wallet. So in other words, it would just be a biometric, possibly biometrics backed up by a PIN or something like that. I don't know whether they could potentially be the same thing as well, but I haven't given it too much thought. But this one is specifically cloud backup PIN.
Okay, so we'll just ignore the device access. So I have access to my smartphone and my wallet, and I forgot my PIN. So I should be able to just say, well, create a new wallet backup for my cloud key with a new PIN, and it will just push that to my cloud, which is a little bit risky, right? Anyone could go in and just say, well,
Exactly. So, which makes the app PIN an interesting conversation in the context of, is it mandatory? like, or optional. But if it's optional, it is risky, like you said, and anyone can pick up your phone and do whatever they want to.
Yeah. Okay. I think the table is helpful as an overview, but I also think there's value in writing those out, those scenarios.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure if that. So the question is also then, should those written out scenarios, should we add that into the guide? I think it could be a helpful outline, because I think all of us have been in situations where like, how the hell does this security model actually work in all these scenarios? And it's pretty complex to think through. So maybe laying those out in written form could be pretty helpful.
Okay. I'm happy to do that. I can write out scenarios. And then on top of that, is there an easier way to represent those scenarios? Like I've got the table here. It wasn't immediately obvious. Major help with a basic intro help, or is there another way of representing those scenarios?
You could create some type of diagram.
Okay.
Like let's say,
like
kind of visualize the steps involved. User gets a new device. User installs the wallet. User goes to restore wallet from cloud backup, enters their PIN, and then they're back to normal, for example.
Yeah.
Or so we would explain the user steps involved. I don't know off the top of my head if that works for every single thing, but something like that.
I can explore it. I can go through it. Maybe do the other scenarios make sense? So signing device replacement, you would need both your mobile device and the auto signer. Does that make sense? We don't need to review it. If you want to do it afterwards, that's also fine.
Yeah, let me just pull this up here real quick. So I've created some diagrams before for stuff where I was also trying to figure out how multi-sig stuff works.
This is useful.
Some of it was really just for myself, where I was kind of indicating the flow, like, okay, the wallet owner does this, then the other family member and sends like this unsigned transaction to this other one, then they sign it and then send it back, and then the wallet owner then sends it to the network, and how wallet setup works, like what the individual members do, how they combine their keys to the wallet, and this was in the context of the Spectre application.
Crystal, these images that you've created about how multi-sig works and all this, are these in the guide anywhere? Because for me, as a non-technical person, I actually really understand this. Or is it like not so relevant for the guide because it's really more like what a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet would be providing their users,
So what is this? This is from 2000. What is that? The 9th September 2000. So I think the guide wasn't live at that time. So maybe they just never made it in.
Because this is I think this is really good content. That, I mean, if you add it to Stains in some way, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. I think from my perspective, this is all user experience. Like, what is the user going to experience when certain bad things happen? And that needs to be designed into your flows. There's certain decisions that you need to kind of make. So I think from my perspective, this is super useful. So having a flow diagram for the different scenarios. So we could, I'm not sure how much work we still need to do, but I mean, we can clean this up a bit.
Yeah, I'll just share the file and you can just take a look at it, and maybe we can make modifications to it, or you come up with your own version of it, or also happy to help out with things. I think these are great, and for me, I find them, for me personally, always a good exercise to figure things out and think through them.
Yeah, exactly.
I support it too. I mean, like I did these same kind of things for the daily spending wallet, for the automatic cloud backup and lightning backup, and it probably drove everybody crazy. But I mean, I think I had like all these different flow diagrams for like every possible disaster scenario that could possibly go wrong, and it's good to think through because it's like, you know, once the Bitcoin's lost, it's lost. So it's like I think it's good to think through like all of these weird edge cases, like, well, what if I don't have the auto signer, or what if I don't have the phone anymore? It's like, you know, because that's going to affect what the recovery process looks like. So if you're marketing this like to, I know it's a hypothetical reference design, but if we're marketing hypothetically this savings wallet to the user, and we're saying, well, this is going to help you store your wealth, and it's going to help you store it safely. We need to know what all the different edge cases are. What are the different failure scenarios and things that could go wrong during that process?
No.
Go ahead, Stain. Sorry.
I was just affirming what he's saying.
What I also like about this is that it's written in language that everyone can understand. You know, the wallet uses 3 hardware wallets to create their multi-sig wallet. They have full control. Hardware wallet device 1. It's in everyday human language. And I think that someone would not have to read over this 2 or 3 times to understand how it works. So, yeah. And I think this is like one of the biggest barriers, you know, for people who are non-technical with using these kinds of wallets. If they understood how it worked, they would be less hesitant to actually use it. Because if you don't know how something works, you won't use it. So I think this does a really good job of doing that. So yeah, I'd love to see it in the guide if it's relevant.
Yeah.
So.
You know, I used the microwave earlier, and I have to say I do not fully understand how it works. Still used
You what?
A microwave.
Oh, yeah, but see, no, but I mean,
Okay.
you're not putting your money in the microwave, you know. You're not into the, you know. This is like you're asking people to put their money in this, you know. So it's like they need to understand how it works, otherwise they're not going to use it. So
you don't need to know how the microwave works, but you do need to understand the failure conditions of the microwave. You need to know to like not put metal objects inside the microwave, and to like, you know, don't mess with the power cord, and don't run the coffee maker right next to the microwave plugged into the same thing. So you do have to know those things about the microwave.
Yeah.
It's true.
Also, what you need to put in with not like eggs and, you know, foil and stuff like that. I've got an interesting story on this topic. So maybe I can take 1 minute to tell the story. So about a year ago, like I would say maybe Jan last year, our neighbor, she's an elderly lady, she sent me a message and she said, "Hey, Stan, can you help me buy some Bitcoin for my for a family member?" And I said, "Sure, I can do that." And she put like $300 in Bitcoin, centralized exchange, and you know, and the market continued to tank, and she just continued to, you know, hodl. And then over the weekend, she sent me a message and she said, "You know, I read some stories about DCG and, you know, Genesis liquidation and stuff like that, and I'm really worried about my money. Like what's happening with this centralized exchange? Should I just keep my money there?" And I said, "Look, you can do a hardware, and you can, you know, these are the options, and you know, I do think that your money is safe under these conditions." But I kind of gathered that she's already kind of made up her mind that she's just gonna, you know, she's just gonna sell now at a loss, like at 50% loss. And she said, "Look, you know, I think it's probably just gonna be safer. I'm gonna sell my crypto, my Bitcoin, and that's it." And she did that. She sold her Bitcoin at a loss. And I realized that she's never going to buy Bitcoin again, which is unfortunate. Or not never, but I think it's unlikely. And I was thinking, like, how can I convince her, you know, to move her money in a place that is safe, that is not, you know, centralized. And you know, there are cases for that, but what's the thing that's going to make her keep her money and not, you know, sell it? And I don't quite know, but I realized that, you know, we're also dealing with human emotion and behaviors that are not always rational, which is very important if we think about how we design these wallets. So yeah, I thought it was just like a interesting anecdotal story. Oh, the reason why I'm telling the story is how much do we need to understand? Like, do I need to understand multi-sig and these kind of things to actually use a wallet? For her, if I need to explain that to her, she's probably going to say, I'm just going to sell my crypto, my Bitcoin. I'm not going to. She just won't take the effort to understand it.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. It reminds me of there was a designathon app called Stack or Spend, and it basically told you when you're supposed to spend and when you're supposed to stack. I don't know how they analyzed it. Maybe it was like some simple, I don't know, market chart, whatever analysis. I have no idea. But this is almost a thing where you really don't want people to buy when everyone's talking about this thing like it's the next coming and it's all happening tomorrow and you need to act right now, or you're gonna miss out, because that's the problem. The entry point is when the hype is big, and that's really where it shouldn't be. But the other thing is that's with $300, it's an interesting situation where if you do buy a hardware wallet, that takes up a good chunk of the value of what you've invested, and it maybe there's maybe this is the range where the as trustworthy as possible exchange might even be an appropriate solution. Or just actually no, you can really just use your own smartphone wallet or so. Maybe you don't need anything else beyond that. I don't know. It's tricky. It also depends on what else she has. If she has an extra computer around.
So like
I
think
personal setup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is an interesting case. But
But yeah, that's the classic like wrong behavior. Buy when it's really high and then sell when everyone's just super scared and the news freak you out, because that's kind of where the bottom happens, right?
So interesting enough, she did buy when it dropped a lot already. So it was in Jan, so it's already dropped from its November high, because I encouraged her not to. But how much? So she decided to. That's a good point. But also I said to her, look, if you buy now, just continue to buy over the long term. It will average out over the long run, which is a strategy that you might or might not want to take up. But it's interesting.
But yeah, I think priming them, showing them the history that these drops happen on a, I don't know, X years basis or so, that's something they should expect. That's kind of I think that seems like a healthy thing to do. Whether they can actually stand that situation. Like we can all be very confident that we'll deal with stressful scenarios super easily, but once we're in them, it's always different. Right?
Then fear and greed kicks in and overrides all form of logic and rational. But okay, so to come back to this conversation, so next steps from my side is I'll read your comments on the doc. I'll share it on the channel and invite more feedback, and then I guess we need to decide what's the best way to put this. Is it a standalone section? I was thinking maybe it doesn't have to be like a very special thing. It could just live as part of the recovery sections as well, one of the recovery sections. I don't quite know if it will fit in, but I could give it a stab. I'm not sure if anyone's...
It's very specific to the savings wallet, so that might be the best place for it to live. Like it could be the first subpage of the savings wallet. Oh, sorry, please keep.
I was thinking it doesn't even need to be like a section within savings wallet. It could be part of one of the recovery sections within the savings wallet. Because I mean that paragraph that I have already covers a bit of recovery. It explains how the PIN is used when you need to recover. Like you lost your mobile device, now you need to recover from the cloud, and that's where you need the PIN. And so I was thinking maybe it could tie into one of those recovery sections on the savings wallet. But I think I just maybe need to give it some thought, and then
let's write out the content then. I think the content's great, thinking through these different scenarios. And then we'll see how it fits in.
Okay, cool. So I can do that. And then if there's any other feedback, happy to take that. Otherwise, I could put it in like a pull request.
Yeah,
and then I was also
I was just going to say, if if we're splitting up this small edition, the small text edition, into if we want to put that in the page, we can do that in its own pull request right now, and then work on the scenario outline separately. That's fine too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe just splitting it up so scenarios would live in its own pull request, and this specific thing live in a smaller piece. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Even this lightning explanation of yours is good as well, Christoph. Lightning max and lightning min. This is a really it's good. So
there's some two-year-old comments in there. Nice. Ancient history. Okay, cool. And Yashraj is here. Hey, welcome. We briefly chatted about your 2 tasks that you're assigned. The first one, the spaced repetition, I feel like that's something we should be able to wrap up pretty quickly. Do you need feedback on that right now, or help putting it in a PR, or what's a good next step there? And if you can't chat, that's fine too.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I think I definitely need feedback on that one. And maybe we could just go through it like right now. If you give me a couple of minutes, I think I can like share my screen and we can go through it if we have the time right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, we have 10 minutes officially, but we can go as long as we want to. And if people have other things to do, they can hop off. Cool. Let me switch over here to this document. Yeah, I feel like this could be a subpage in a way. Because it's a very specific technique that's laid out in detail. That's also, for different wallets, it could be implemented in different ways based on the purpose of the wallet, like long-term savings, multi-sig, other things. And it reminds me, Signal keeps reminding me. Do you know in applications that remind you regularly about certain things that you should be doing?
I know that these like dieting applications, they do that, like, or if you to do reminder applications, they do that a lot. Constantly pop-ups on your screen. Well, I don't use them anymore.
Maybe that's why.
It actually distracts you from getting work done because you're constantly being reminded to do something. So I'm a notification free kind of person.
Yeah.
All notifications off. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know the Apple Health app, they remind you of making sure that things are reviewing your health settings. Then the Signal reminds you to enter your PIN, I think, for, I don't know how they justify it or what the rationale is. Duolingo is super aggressive with notifications, passive aggressive.
Yeah, so I think that is why I have like a etiquette subsection in there, and like a trigger subsection in there as well, because I realize that like especially if it's like I'm trying to make a payment, and before I make the payment, if there is a notification, I'll be super annoyed about that. But then on the other hand, if I like if I like shared an address with you and you send me money, and then suddenly I'm super rich, right? And then it would actually be a good idea. And I think, Christoph, you already have like screens like that, wherein after you receive money you say that, now you seem to have a lot of money. So how about set up this iCloud backup, or something
Yeah.
like that. And so that is also a security reminder, right, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly.
Yeah. And then I kind of realized that, yeah, so in my mind it was like all like, uh I just I I just go in all like obsessed about all these things, right? But then after I step back, I realized that, maybe spaced repetition is for like something I really want to remember, like. And I think I joined it, but you were like, discussing the example where what if you forget the app pin, right?
Yeah.
In the earlier discussion. And then for things like the app pin, for like, like taking this manual backups and things like that, those space reminders can be useful, right? So I thought, yeah, so space is where the duration goes on increasing and things like that. Like, so that is a very special case, like you were saying earlier. And so, as you said, maybe this can go on a couple of different pages, and it gets split up, or some of it like you just skip it.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good next step then to, in this document,
Hmm.
identify places where this content would go, either as a write up as a whole, or if we want to split it
Hmm.
up in which sections specifically it would go, point to those. And if we can figure that out quickly, then we could just set up a pull request and add things in.
Hmm. Yeah, sure. I think one more thing I'd like to do on this one is that, yeah, for sure, like split it up, like just indicate the pages. What I would like to do is that I know that there are tons and tons of screens that you have in the uh, in the UI kit Figma file, right?
Mhm.
And so what I've been trying to do over the past several weeks is that I try to go through all the pages, all the screens, and then kind of like segregate and like pick out those screens and how they can be used here, because we already have them. And it looks like most of the screens aren't really on any web page right now, right? So they could be, some of them could be included here,
Yeah.
just as examples, or things like that. Or you take two or three screens together and like make
Quick
a
gallery.
flow. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I would like to add those. It would be really great if like you can like take a look at these, because you designed those ones, right?
Yep.
And so those screens, and I think it might be easier for you to quickly identify which ones like can be included. But yeah, I am I am also trying to do it as well. So
That's excellent. I was just thinking as you were talking about referencing pages and whatnot.
mhm.
Do we know of any wallet, any open source wallet that does this? Because we could also, if we do, then maybe we can link to actual code that implements this. That'd be kind of interesting. Right? For example, if
Cool.
Phoenix Wallet has some type of reminder, we can figure out where that code is and just link to the code. That'd be kind of interesting too.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not exactly an expert on like all these wallets, but
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm
I
just
think
saying
one
if
thing,
we can
yeah,
also ask in
yeah,
the design guide channel or so if someone
yeah,
knows,
yeah,
then we can crowdsource that information. It'd be just kind of interesting to link to actual code too. Be cool.
mhm, yeah, sure, yeah, sounds like a good idea. I can I can put out a reminder if you want me to, or if you do it, it might get more attention. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, cool. Then I'll also try to take a look at this document and see how we can kind of piece it all together. Then.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah, that would be awesome.
Excellent. Cool. So anything else? We're about 2 minutes to the hour. All good.
I'm good. I'm excited about getting the Persona one in. I didn't consider what you said. You were like, yeah, well, let's just get back to the last bit, but let's just get it online. So I'm down for that. Excited.
Yeah, it's when sometimes things feel like they're dragging on for too long, it's best to just take part, take a chunk, put it live, then
Yeah.
follow up with the rest later, and then things become a little bit easier and nicer to manage.
Yep.
So let's do
Sounds
that.
reasonable.
Awesome, cool. So I guess we didn't update anything in the issues, but I think we're all good, and we'll just try to focus on wrapping a lot of this stuff up.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Then I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for all our YouTube followers, listeners here.